Good afternoon. Today I'll be discussing the heart of direct democracy in Arizona, which is initiatives and referendums. I'll define what initiative and referendums are, discuss how they are created, compare and contrast them, discuss the pros and cons of each, and explain how both support the idea of direct democracy. So, what are initiatives and referendums? Initiative is a way for voting citizens to propose a new or change to an amendment or statute. Initiative comes from the people and must be voted for approval by the people. In Arizona, there are several different types of initiatives. The constitutional initiative allows citizens to make changes to their state constitution. They can remove certain language of an amendment and add or modify an amendment. Statutory initiatives is when citizens can propose, write, and enact everyday laws as long as they obey the Arizona and US Constitution. In a way, this type of initiative allows everyday citizens to be like legislators in that they are enacting laws. Referendums is the most common way to alter Arizona Constitution. It's when the legislator proposes a new amendment or a change to an amendment, citizens then vote to approve or deny it. There's a constitutional referendum, which is where the Senate and House have to approve it and with a simple majority vote before it can be sent to the people for voting. The statutory referendum allows legislation to send regular laws straight to the citizens for their choice. Usually this would go to the governor for approval, but the referendum transfers the governor's veto power to the people, so it becomes the people's veto. Initiatives and referendums were created when the people or legislator, on behalf of the people, want to create a new law or amend a current law. For initiatives, the process starts solely with the person or group introducing the change. They must draft the proposed amendment, which can only be on one subject, they can't have multiple, and submit it to the Secretary of State. Then, the one who had proposed the law must get a petition signed and must have at least 15% of the voters in the area signatures. If they get enough signatures, then the second step begins, which is when the proposed law goes to the next general election. If the people vote majority for the law, then it is added to the Arizona Constitution. For referendums, legislation proposes the amendment to the House and Senate, and if it has a simple majority vote, then it goes to the people in the general election. If passed, then it is added to the Constitution. The differences and similarities of initiative and referendums. Initiatives are drafted by the people themselves and citizens. Citizen voters will approve or reject it, so it's the people's process. Whereas referendums are drafted by legislators, and the voters or governors can approve or decline it and move it towards the people's vote. Initiatives are required to have a certain amount of signatures before they can move on to the next step of the ballot. Referendums do not need signatures because the majority vote is needed in the Senate. Initiatives can allow citizens to propose statutes, and popular referendums allow voters to approve or veto legislation. Both fall in the hands of the voters. The pros and cons. There are pros and cons to referendum initiatives. Pro, that is that it demonstrates how direct democracy can work and be for the people. A con, though, is that the people process can be taken over by wealthy groups. Many grassroots efforts that people's process can be taken over, and many grassroots efforts never make it off the ground because they don't have the money for a successful petition campaign. Another way is that out-of-state organizations will fund certain laws that will benefit them. So, for example, there's been a situation in the 90s and the early 2000s where 3 millionaires, two of which were non-residents of Arizona, supported a drug legislation ballot and tried to get that passed to support their businesses. Supporters of referendums initiatives note that this process of initiatives and referendums allows the people to choose and is not for legislatures' self-interest. It also helps the legislatures to be in tune with citizens' concern and create more meaningful laws. Initiative and referendums support the idea of direct democracy in the Arizona Constitution because it gives citizens a direct voice in government choices. Although the federal government favors a republic form of government, Arizona's successful constitutional views of pure democracy demonstrates how the voters can actively participate in the government.